Should motivation be internal or external, or both? How do we understand that? In psychology nowadays, there's a big focus on moving from external motivation to internal motivation, but that sometimes leaves us with some questions because as we try to motivate ourselves from inside, we are sometimes at a loss. And many times we want to seek internal and external freedom, but sometimes that leaves us without accomplishing our goals or our intentions. How many times we set intentions at the beginning of the year and we might get motivated right at the beginning, but then our energy and internal motivation, so to speak, kind of goes down, and then we forget about our intentions and our goals. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about internal and external motivation and what is the right balance. And is it true that we only need to be internally motivated? And if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Ioana Popa from Team for the Soul, and I love this bridging between science, psychology, ancient Christian faith, and spiritual care. And with that, let's dive in. Most of us, and we're children, we are motivated by our parents, our family, by our school, our grades, and whatever else is in our environment. And part of the most important developmental milestone is to move from being externally motivated by rewards, by punishments, to internally being motivated. It's a wonderful goal, but sometimes people can go to an extreme, and especially if you're a giver and you're very busy, you probably are motivated to help and give to others. And then for your own goals, not only you might not have time, but might not have the energy or the inner zest to pursue what's really important to you. And since we have this mindset that we have to be internally motivated, we come to the point where we might believe, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm weak, or I'm a procrastinator. We start labeling ourselves in such a way as if there's something wrong with us. Some people with a beautiful heart might even have past bad experiences about being motivated externally, that they don't want to have goals or set schedules or to-do lists because it brings pain from the past. And they want to live in a way that is free for external constraints. And I really get that. I grew up in a communist country where everything was happening, by the dot, and we were imposed certain rules and ways of being that felt really, looking back now, it feels outrageous. We were sitting in a classroom with our hands in the back and we weren't allowed to talk. So the training that way, the external constraints were really intense in a certain way. Now, one other thing that's really important is not to throw the baby with the dirty water, so to speak. There's something really important about external reminders. And although we don't want to succumb to them on an unconditional way, it really helps to plan for them. And I'll explain why. Our brain is made in such a way that we have what's called, you might have heard me talk about this or heard it from other areas, dual processing brain. So we have our day-to-day consciousness, which is logical, grow from A to B to C, cause and effect. And we also have a more subconscious and unconscious way of being that is very, very helpful. It helps us with our habits, with our routines, with our day-to-day living. And also, our brain has what psychologists are calling heuristics. In other words, our brain focuses and uses a lot of shortcuts because these are really decreasing the energy and the effort through the day. So they're very helpful. But in order for those shortcuts to work, our brain relies a lot on cues from the environment. So when the external cues, if we're aware or not, but we succumb to them on a regular basis, like how many times we have certain reactions just because we get a text or an email, or we check our news and all of a sudden we have new ideas and we respond to them, or some social media posts. So we might be aware of not, but we are responding to external cues. And sometimes, and those cues are not set by ourselves, they are happening in the day-to-day world. work and flow of the day. And many times our consciousness, we're so focused in what we have to do, but our subconscious mind is constantly responding to external and environmental cues. So internal motivation is extremely important, but external motivation, it's equally important, especially for that subconscious part of our brain. And we can actually design it. We can set up our environment in such a ways that it can remind us of the things that we want to do. Because if we don't set up our intentions and we don't design our environment in such a way to remind us and bring us cues that will help us respond in certain ways that are desirable for us, someone else will, and will do it unconsciously. At least for us, we're not going to be aware. So the invitation is really to consider that we need both internal motivation, which is connected to our intentions, our values, our hierarchical goals, moving from where we are now to where we want to be, and in the same time being intentional about designing our environment to bring external cues and triggers that would help our subconscious brain as we go about our day so that we can move towards the intentions that we want. And in the next few videos, I will unpack how that might look like. So with that, I thank you for everything you're doing, and I say goodbye for now.